Yo, hunters, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's Lenny Kale with Hunting Western Mass. I want to give you a quick wrap-up of how it went today out in the woods, um, and give you a rut report and tell you what's going on. I went out there early. I got out there. I actually got up on time this morning, got out when it was dark, and got up there. Saw some deer on the way in. The barometer was 30 and above, so that was a good sign. I went in, the wind was going in the right direction. I got in, I wanted to go use my new stand, even though I just put it up. It was in a good spot, but what I wanted to do was take an alternate route and go in and circle around behind it and come up in, so I didn't scent up the whole area where I believe the deer go through. So um, I did go through there. I took the long way around. I ended up coming down, finding my stand, getting up in it. It was pretty cold this morning, and it was like walking on pop rocks, man. And there it was, everything was frozen. So you had to be real careful walking in. But uh, I got in, I set up on my stand. I heard some deer moving around. Nothing really came close to me, so I decided to go on a walkabout after a few hours. And what I did was I went up and I started walking along a trail. And where I hunt is a huge mountain range, and I decided to go up high. I was walking along the trail, and I know those big bucks, they like it up high. So at one point I veered off the trail and I started going up, and I went up and I went up and I went up and I went up, and I ended up. There's another video in here that I'm adding to this. What I found when I was way up there was that there was deer sign way up on the ledges and on the cliffs. They were on the vertical place. There's like some flats, and then there's ledges, and there's flats, and there's ledges, and those flats, they hold acorns, and those deer were just feeding on those south facing slopes big time. I came in, I was right behind them. I was minutes behind them. I was probably pushing them. And hey, hunters, check this out. I am way up on a mountain. I don't know if you can see that over there. That's a pretty big mountain over there, and I am just about level with the top of it. The last time all I got in there was my case. Okay, I'll give you a little update of what's going on here. I came in this morning. I got out early, just after light. It gets legal shooting light is right when it gets light right now. So I was out here right about before that. I just put in a new stand yesterday in a really good spot. I shouldn't have gone in there so soon because I sent it up the area, putting in my cameras, putting up the stand. So I sat there for a little while, and though I heard some deer. Although I heard some deer, I figured that it wasn't going to be that productive of a spot this morning. So I got down and I hiked deeper into the mountains, and saw a deer run. I looked up, and it's pretty vertical coming up here. It's actually kind of dangerous coming up here. It was like a goat trail, but I climbed and I climbed and I climbed, and pretty soon I started seeing these ledges, and the ledges, in between the ledges, there are these acorn flats, and the deer have just been ripping it up. And right now I am way up on the side of the hill. I'm sure very few hunters ever come up here, and I'm right behind the deer. I don't know if you can see behind me, but the ground is all torn up, and they were just here. I mean, I am minutes behind them. There's no doubt that I pushed them out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them settle down, circle around. I'm going to descent myself, and I'm going to tuck myself up under this rock ledge and see if maybe they'll come back. Uh, it's been a pretty cool morning. I was surprised at the amount of hunters that I did not see out this morning. There weren't very many cars and very many spots. I was really surprised. The barometer was 30 this morning. The deer are up and are moving around and feeding. So I am sky high right now, and I'm going to buckle in and stay here for a little while, and then I'm gonna go check some other cameras that I got, and then I'm gonna get settled in for my evening hunt. So I'll give you guys an update later on. I just wanted to share this with you. Ledges, man, that's where it's at. Hopefully something will come by. All right, have a good one. Happy hunting. So I decided that what I was going to do was get into an ambush spot where I could look down on those south-facing slopes, and I would sit there and wait for deer. I did have some deer come through. I saw 3 does. They came by. There was no buck. I went and checked out some of my cameras. It looked to me like that the scrapes have virtually dried up overnight. So in my opinion, the bucks have pretty much nailed down the does. You're going to see the scrapes probably starting to dry up right now, and that's a sad thing, because now you got to go out and push them out of their beds, and they're not going to be moving. You can sit up in your stand all day, and you're not going to see a deer, because once they find those does and lock on them, they settle right down. They go to a spot, they sit down, they might get up and move a little bit and eat, but they're not going to be moving like they were during the full rut. So I'm saying peak rut has probably come and gone, and if you didn't get out there today, shame on you. I was surprised at the lack of cars that I saw out there this morning. I don't know if it was because of the cold weather or what, but I had some cams in one area. Like I said, I went in and I set up some cams, and someone came in and put up a stand right in the spot, and I said, okay, that's cool, I'll move. And I moved, and when I went over to check my cams, there was no one in that stand, and it was like, I was like, oh, and there were deer all around in that area. I went in and I pulled out my camera, and I actually wanted to sit there for a while, and I could hear deer. They were winding me. The wind today was going 8 different directions, so it was only taking a while before the deer could pinpoint your location. It was definitely not going in one steady direction. But anyway, so it looks to me like the scrapes pretty much dried up overnight. I had cams out on lots of scrapes, and they're just not hitting them like they were. So adjust your hunting strategies accordingly. So I got a little frustrated later on, and I started doing some fawn and distress calls, because it's still bear season, and I scouted around, and I kept finding a little bit of bear scat here and there, and then I found a monstrous bear scat. I'm not kidding you. That thing was like this big around. It was as big as a Coke can. And I was like, wow, this is a huge bear. It made me pause my bleeding does or bleeding fawns, because of the size of the animal. I want to be up in a stand. If I hit an animal that big, hunting it on the ground is probably not too wise. But anyway, I'm on that bear, and I'll keep you updated on it. I'm going to put some photos in here of a scat. It was pretty amazing. There was bear is one of the few animals that you can see that they actually eat grains and seeds, and then you'll see squirrel fur. They're carnivorous as well. But the deer are out there, and this cold weather is getting them moving. But you got to get out there early in the morning. Early in the morning, they're going to be moving into their beds, into their bedding areas, and then late in the evening, they're going to be coming out. Because they know there's no humans around. So now you got to really focus on the early morning hours and the later in the evening hours. And I just wanted to give you a little tip there. Like I said, later in the season like this, I believe the deer are kind of lazy. I think they suck up the acorns where it's easy down in the lower spots, and then when those all run out, they go up to the ledges and the steep places, and they clean them up there. But anyway, this is Lenny Kale with Hunting Western Mass. I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to. You guys, thanks for sending the pics. Thanks for the messages, the text I'm getting while I'm out in the field. You guys are great. Keep me posted, and thanks for supporting my page, man. All right, happy hunting. Lenny Kale, Hunting Western Mass.